Hey there, welcome to part 3 of my Synthwave tutorial. In the last video we've set up the template which we are using today, and now we are ready to create the first part of the music. So in this video we will create the main arpeggiated synth line and the bass line. For me, Synthwave is all about synthesizers, and well, at least in my case, is less drum focused. It's not like EDM or dance, so I normally don't start a track with a drum part, and I usually begin a track with a bass or a melody part and start working from there. For this track, I also started with the bass line, and for that, I used the Korg Poly 6 plugin, which is a pretty good emulation of the old school Korg Poly 6 hardware synth. And as you can hear, I used the very first preset of the plugin, which is called the Fatline bass. And this is sort of a synthwave standard bass sound and gets used so much, but I have to admit I use it a lot too. It just sounds right, just sounds great right from the beginning. So I'm not making any changes to the preset. I'm just using it as it is. So for the track, I came up with a pretty simple bass line that continues throughout the whole track. And the only variation I will add is some automation on the filter. But I will do that later on in the track. So I wanted the bass line to be tight. So I'm not going to record it with my keyboard. I'm just going to draw it in into the piano roll. And the notes are a D4 for every step for 2 bars, and then F sharp on every step of 2 bars as well. So here we have our bass line, sounds like this. So this is the bass line that continues throughout the whole track, and which is literally the base of the track. I always love a repeating revolving bass line, and that's what you'll hear in 99% of my music. I'm not going to use any effects on the bass, so it goes directly into the master channel here. So now it's time for what I'd like to call the main ARP Synth. And for that, I used D16's Lush 101 for that. This is supposed to be a emulation of the Roland SH101, but it can do so much more than the original. It's a great plugin. Anyway, I already had the start of the ARP Synth in my head before I started the track, and I wanted a sound that was a bit brassy. But I only wanted the brassiness to come in every once in a while during the track. And it also needed a long release, so it would die up pretty slowly. So I used a preset called a brush. Here we are. But as you can hear, it sounds brassy, but it doesn't have a long release on it. I always like to work with presets because of my knowledge of synthesis isn't that extremely good. So I'd rather change presets and that come with soft synths or which I found online. And this saves a lot of time for me. So we're going to change this one as well. I want to give it a longer tail so it would die out slower. So what I have to do is make the release of the envelopes longer, of envelope 1 and envelope 2. And I set the release of envelope 2 to around 3.3 seconds. As you can see here at the bottom, 3.3 like this. And the envelope of so the release of envelope 1 to around 2.9 seconds, like that. Sounds like this. has a little bit of a longer tail to it, but that doesn't make the sound bigger. And it still needs a longer tail. So we are going to use the internal effects of the program, which are right here under the master mixer. And I'm setting the reverb to on. And because I want a longer reverb on it, I'm going to change the room size here. It says small at the moment. It needs to be bigger. So I'm going to set it to around 50%. Sounds like this. So you can hear a bit of a reverb going on. And next we have to set the room size for the late reflections here to around 20 meters or so. Like that. And we have a brassy sound now with a long reverb. But that's still not enough reverb though. I'm going to send it to the mixer of FL Studio, send it to FX channel 1, and I'm going to add some reverb with the Fruity Reverb 2. And this is another FL Studio native plugin which I use a lot for my music, and I really love the sound. So what I do is set the decay time to around 4.6 seconds. Like this, as you can see here. 4.6 seconds. And I'm going to set the wet level all the way up to around 70%, like this. And this sets the level of the reverb mixed with the dry signal. So if I turn it all the way up, you won't hear the original, just the original with a loss of reverb, which is great for ambient or dreamy sounds. But when I set it to 0, no reverb will be added at all. So here we have our main ARP synth set and ready to be used. When I started to track, I already had the melody in my head, which went a bit like this. So let me draw that into the piano roll. And again, I'm drawing this in by hand because it needs to be tight. And this works better for me since my piano playing isn't the best. So the notes are A4. Let me turn down the volume for you while I'm creating the melody. So that's A4, then B4, C sharp, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, B, A, F sharp, B, C sharp, A, B, C sharp, F sharp. So I'm going to copy those over the 4 bars we already have. So it sounds like this. But I want to add some variation to the main arpeggiated synth, so I'm changing the C sharp notes of the third bar here to a E5, sorry, like this, E5, and the C sharp notes of the 4th bar first will be F sharp, and the very last C sharp note will become a A5, like this. and together it sounds like this now. So here we have the basis of our track with the main ARP right here with lots of reverb on it and the bass line. In the next video I'll cover the intro synth, and we'll make a beginning with the arrangement. So see you there.